Welcome to today's session. Yesterday we saw what is idea, now what is central idea. Now let's look at some passages in this regard. Let's see some previous year's questions and let's attempt to solve it. I expect you to already solve this passages. Let's start with passage number 2. Country, regrettably, teaching and learning to the examination has been our forte, but new demands of the society and future of work require critical and independent thinking. So, here the passage is talking about the new approach of thinking, which is independent thinking and critical thinking. So, learning through doing, asking some questions through multidisciplinary perspective. So, overall, they are talking about the new perspectives or approaches in the passage on the same issue using evidence of argument building and reflecting and articulation. What is he focusing on? He's focusing on perspectives. He's focusing on the perspectives which is required and new ideas or new ways of thinking. Higher education should not be a mere servant of the government policy or a passive respondent to public mood. Here, higher learning is all about how to think. So, what is best captured? He's focusing on how to think rather than what to think. These words, how to think, gives you a lot of clue in these passages. Teaching has to be reinvented. This was the passage which was asked in 2025 CSC. This was a passage of 2025 CSC. Now, let's look closely at the various options which has been given in this. Which of the following statement best reflects the central idea? What is central idea? Central idea is one idea which connects various ideas together, right? That is my central idea. This word not a negative connotation. India does not have enough resources. This words enough. This gives a lot of clues for promoting quality education in its university. As anyway, passage said that we are not capable or we don't have enough resources for promoting quality education. No, right? So one more clue is nowhere in UPSC, very rarely in UPSC paper, what happens is negative thing about India would be told. India is usually shown on a positive perspective or a positive light. The institution of higher learning in the country should not be under the control of government. Is it talking about completely getting away from the control of the government? No, right? That is not the focus of the passage. It's about perspective building, interdisciplinary perspectives, focusing on how to think, and teaching to be reinvented. That is what the focus of the passage is about. Then, classroom approach to education should be completely done away with. What is this? Completely done away with, eliminated, or these are all extreme words, right? These are rather pretty much extreme words. Completely done away with. Classroom needs to be reimagined. Don't. What is my right answer here? Classroom needs to be reimagined and teaching must be reinvented. That's what here it is said, right? Teaching has to be reinvented or renovated. So the focus is on reimagining the process of learning by having a multidisciplinary approach or a perspective. Here it is clearly known, reinvented and reimagined. Done away with an extreme word. We don't have enough resources, couple of notes, a lot of clues will be given in the passage like this. That will help us to figure out what is the wrong option, what is the right option. Next, let's focus. Here, now what they're telling it's hard to predict climate changes in climate and atmospheric chemistry will affect prevalence and virulence of agriculture discipline. So telling, is he actually predicting climate change or effect of climate change? He's telling it is even hard to predict the effect of climate change in this. He's telling this prediction system is very hard to predict. He's not telling it will definitely hamper or something. But here he stresses there's a risk that such changes may make some plant infections more common in all climatic zones. So overall, in all the climatic zones, one similarity can be there, which is certain plant infections being more prevalent and virulent, perhaps catastrophically so. Part of the problem is centuries of selective reading. What is selective breeding? What is artificial breeding? What is natural selection? Selective breeding is for higher yields, for human required. We have only selected or continued growing certain kind of seeds, right? That is selective breeding. Have redefined the genomes of high value crops. They are spectacular in growing in today's condition, but genetic variation, what instead should have been, there should have been wild varieties, there should have been various genetic variations among this that are not immediately useful to them, have been bred out. This is what which is missing. This is good for yields, but bad for coping with change. What if some change happens and all the same kind of, or only selective breeding we have done, right? Those goes away. But instead, wild varieties were there that would have helped us to sustain, right? That's what the focus of the passage is on. A minor disease or even an unknown one could suddenly rampage through a genetically horned crop. So even a small change or a small disaster or a small plant infection, which we spoke about, here we were speaking about virulence and prevalence of disease, right? That will have an impact. Rather, if we had diversified our food, if we had the wild varieties, we could have managed the situation better. That's what the passage is focusing on. Now, let's look at the options. Okay. Global climate change adversely affects. If you remember, starting of the passage, it said it is hard to, what did it say? It is hard to say what will happen, right? In here, it is directly saying adversely affected. And previously, I had given you this clue word, right? Adverbs. Write down in this your book or the passage which we had to maintain adversely, ly form, right? Which is affected. Our total dependence on genetically horned crops entails possible food insecurity. This looks good. We'll keep it as it is. Our food security should not depend on agricultural productivity alone, not and alone, used together. Okay, okay, fine. Genetically horned crops should be replaced. Don't you feel this word replace? Write this down. Previously, what we had words like done, right? Similarly, other words like inevitable, completely replaced. All these words are what? All these words are extreme words. Don't you think so? All these words are extreme words. So this is wrong and this is wrong. So not and alone both are used. Our food security should not depend on agriculture, which is true. But the central idea here is our total dependence on genetically horned crops has resulted in what? Possible food insecurity. But this would be my right answer for this. This would be my right answer for this. Okay, let's go with the next question. Over next 30 years, to read the statement, what has happened? He's talking about over next 30 years, right? What has happened? Closely read in the statement. Next 30 years, over next 30 years, many to move towards net zero carbon, implying that household emissions will have to be cut to close to nothing. Everyone are trying to become net zero now. So for that to happen, household emission should go close to zero. A leading climate scientist reckons that at best half of reduction may be achieved through demand sides. So there's two sides: demand side, supply side. Demand side is household side. So only household side, if we do put our best efforts, only half of it will happen. Reduction will happen. The rest half will be compensated by which will be done by demand side. So what will happen as behavioral changes by individuals and households? This is with respect to demand side, and even that would require companies and governments to provide more incentives to change through supply side. Along supply side, who all should come? Companies, government. What should they do? They should start incentivizing. This word is key here. What should they do? They incentivize through supply side investments to make low carbon option more cheaper. The focus is here is on making low carbon option more cheaper and more widely available. So now let's look at the option. Moving to net zero is possible only by reduction. Is it by only by household reduction? 50% by demand side, 50% by supply side. Household is demand side. So not only through household. What are the extreme words? Only household. No, right? It is rather 50% by household. Next, this is wrong. What kind of statement is this? Opposite to passage statement. Passage is implying something which is opposite to it. Okay, this is opposite to passage statement. Low carbon behavior can be brought by incentivizing. That is what we just said here, right? Incentivizing. Then cheaper goods and services can be made available to people by using low carbon technologies. Okay, I'll keep it as it is right now. Manufacturing industries that use. So as anywhere in the passage, is he focusing on manufacturing industries? No, right? He's not focusing on manufacturing industries currently. This is what statement? Out of passage statement. What kind of statement is this? This is rather a out of passage statement. Okay. So cheaper goods and services can be made available to people. Is the focus of the passage on providing cheap goods and services or going towards net zero or lowering carbon emissions? The focus of passage is on what? Low carbon behavior. One way to do it is incentivizing them. So what method it is? Supply side reduction. Okay. So the answer here is B. B is my right answer for this case. Let's see the next passage. Not every voice on the internet commands same kinds of audience. So some voice are strongly heard, some voice are weakly heard. When anomalous private entities with high capital, whose voice is loud voice on internet, who has high capital, they can pay for more space for their opinions. So more capital, more voice is being heard. They are effectively buying a louder voice. So you have more money, you can have a better voice or a louder voice. If political discourse on digital space, which is internet, is a matter of outshining one's opponent till the elections is being won, the quality of politics suffers. So what has happened to democracy? What has happened to quality of debates? It has suffered because people of higher capital have louder voices here. And internet is actually not doing good to democracy. It is lowering the quality of democracy here. The focus of social media is restricted to promotion of content that generate more user engagement. What do social media are focusing on? They are focusing on their own profit, right? They are focusing on their own user engagement. That is what their entire focusing of social media on, regardless of the content is. They don't care whether the content is doing good or bad to the society. All they are caring about is their profit and their user engagements. That's all. That is the main aim of the social media. That's what they are complaining. The concept of marketplace of views ensures instant access to information. Have we anywhere focused on access to information? Instant access to information. No, right? Completely out of passage. Statement one. Statement one is completely out of passage. The focus is not on instant access to informations. Social media are not ideal or moral institutions, but products built by companies to make profit. Very true, right? Last two line encompasses this. What are social media? Are social media that for democracy? No, right? For them to make profit. That's what we are trying to say here, right? For them to make profit. Then social media have been created to strengthen democracy. What kind of statement is this? Opposite to passage statement. Passage says it is rather worsening democracy. Opposite to passage statement. My statement says in today's world, social media is inevitable. Write down in your A4 sheet. What kind of word is inevitable? Don't you think this word makes it more extreme? This word is making the statement more extreme. So this word is wrong. The answer is B in this case. This is 2024 CSAT question. When children reach 8, the bulk of them tend to be in the age range of 13 to 15 years. But in our country, about a quarter of children in 8 are struggling with reading simple, and half of them, more than half, are still unable to do basic arithmetic operations like division. So author is complaining our children are just aging, but according to their age, their skills has not been developed. Every year, around 25 million young boys and girls from elementary school move into life that lies beyond compulsory schooling. So 6 to 14 years is compulsory schooling, right? Now they are going to elementary school. They cannot enter the workforce, at least in organized sector, till they are 18. For many families, these children are first from their families, meaning parents would not be educated, but these children will be the first children to become graduates, to become educated, and they'll proceed for further. Parents and children expect that such graduates will come out of school, go on to high school and colleges. Hardly anyone wants to go back to agriculture. So if their parents were doing agriculture because they were not well educated, so parents don't want their children to go to agriculture. Rather, they want to be educated and they wanted to be graduates and do some service sector work. On the other hand, abilities in terms of academic competences are far lower, as they are even based on curriculum expectations of class 8. One problem that is happening is we want our workforce to be of quality workforce, but rather even for class 8, their skill set is not proper. That is what the author is thinking about. So it's mostly The question states, which of the following reflects the idea? Okay. Eradication of poverty. As anywhere the passage focus is on eradication of poverty. What is this? This is out of passage. Nowhere we are talking about eradication of poverty. Rather, we are focusing on education and the skill set. Monetary incentives. The moment you see monetary incentives, only we get to know. Is it telling we have to give money to parents? No, right? We are not at all telling should we give money to parents or not. Then the public policy should ensure that competencies and achievements of young people aligned with their expectations. Okay, I'll keep it as it is. India is not going to take advantage of demographic dividend unless some school pass out or go back to agriculture. Is he asking people to go back to agriculture? No, right? He's telling people to not go back to agriculture. That's what parents at least want. So this is completely wrong. Public policy should ensure that competencies, this is right, and achievements of young children are aligned with their expectations, which is right. My answer is C in this case. Okay, we go to the next one. We take it granted that science, now that science has a social responsibility. The idea, today's science is what? Today's science is about, it's a social responsibility. The idea would not have occurred to Newton or Galileo. But if you look at ancient times or medieval times, how was science used? It was seen as a moment of curiosity, right? Scientists became curious about something and started figuring out. But today, science is a social responsibility. They thought science was an account of world. Science as an account of world as it is, and the only responsibility they acknowledged was to tell the truth. So science was focusing on to tell the truth, the curiosity aspect of it, the fact, the truth aspect of it, to report whatever they saw. That was the focus of the science. Okay. The idea that science is a social enterprise is modern. So this idea that science is a social responsibility or a social enterprise itself is a new idea or a modern idea. Where it began with respect to industrial revolution. We are surprised that we cannot take social sense further back, because we nurse the illusion that industrial revolution ended the golden age. So let's see at the options. Science must value commitment to scientists. Is the overall thing talking about a value scientists or commitment to social scientists? No, right? Not it. Science is a product of civilized society and must be used for promotion of scientific awareness. Are we talking about scientific awareness here? No, we are talking about social responsibility here. Then industrial revolution was made possible by the advancement in science. Okay, but my passage is not talking about industrial revolution. My passage is talking about science being a fact, and science being a fact, and science being a social responsibility. Is in the science must pursue the truth. Yes, this is what the truth aspect of the science, the old ones, the Galileo was talking about, right? And the responsible for social welfare, social responsibility. This is what the entirety was based on. So my answer is D in this case. When a child reaches, this particular question was again asked in 2024 CSAT. We have one more question from 2024 CSAT RC section UPSC. When a child reaches adolescence, there is an apt to be conflict between parents and children. Since the latter, meaning the children, consider himself to be, now I'm capable of managing my own affairs, I'll take my decisions. While parents, filled with parental solicitude, which is often a disguise of power of love, parents consider usually various moral problems which arise in adolescence are peculiar in their province. Parents feel in the young age, they will take the decisions. They will have an opinion on it. That's what parents feel. But rather, children feel we'll take our own decisions. We are independent enough to take our own decisions. The options they express, however, are so dogmatic, meaning it's so idealistic. Parents don't understand today's children's problem. It's so idealistic. The children seldom confide with them. Children don't conflict with them, or don't talk with them, or they won't interact with them. Rather, they go their own way in a secretive manner. They do everything in a secretive manner. Parents in general may not be of much help when children are on their way of becoming adult. Are we telling that parents are useless, or like they are not of much help, they are not helping us more? No, right? Okay. When children reach adolescence, involvement of parents' life is unnecessary. Is we talking about children them being very unnecessary? Or modern day nuclear problems are not modern day nuclear families are not capable of bringing up children properly. Okay. Are we complaining that it's almost not this word is there, right? Not capable. It's very much an extreme word. This will definitely be wrong. Not. Okay. In modern society, adolescents tend to be stubborn. Is he anyway telling the youth is stubborn? No, right? Definitely not. This also is definitely not. So all the four options look definitely not. But we'll again go back and see what is nearest option. Okay. These C and D, definitely not, because not capable, very much extreme. Nowhere they're telling that the youths are stubborn. They're only telling parents are giving so idealistic solution, dogmatic solution, that they are of not of much help. Okay. Children reach adolescence, involvement with parents' life is unnecessary. This unnecessary, easily you can get it. What it is? Extreme word. Will definitely be wrong. This is also extreme. This is out of passage. Okay. Let's examine my statement here then. Parents in general may not be of much help when children are in the way of becoming adult. Where it is being considered here, right? The options they express, however, are so dogmatic. So meaning they're so idealistic that parents become so unnecessary. Their involvement is so unnecessary. So my answer is A in this. Okay. The last state of the state is not to dominate man, not to restrain. You see these words, right? Not to restrain, not to dominate. What are these words resonating with? They're resonating with the concepts of liberty, right? Which is there in the preamble of the Constitution. These words give you enough clue. Not to restrain by fear, free man. What is it? Freedom, liberty. So you can easily say this statement talks about liberty. Okay, 10th question. Majority of the people who fail to accumulate money sufficient for their needs are generally influenced by opinions of others. So what is the problem of people? People are easily influenced by opinion of others. So they permit that newspapers and gossiping neighbors do their thinking for them. Opinions are the cheapest commodities on the earth. Everyone has a flock of opinions ready to be wished upon by anyone who will accept them. If you influenced by the opinions, when you reach, you will not succeed in any single undertaking. So focus is on opinions, and people should not be influenced by the opinions of others. People should not be influenced by the opinions of others. Yes, true. People should accumulate as much money. No. People should neither give. No. People will succeed in any undertaking if they do not accept any opinions or no. They are telling, don't be influenced by the opinion of others. But they're not telling, the moment you stop getting influenced by the opinions of others, then you will automatically get succeeded, right? If P implies Q, that doesn't mean that Q also implies P, right? If all lions are animals, that doesn't mean that all animals are lions, right? Something like this can't be said. So the reverse can't be said. It won't be that true. People will automatically succeed if you don't take care of any opinions. All right. The answer is this. Answer is A. Thank you.